Hi everyone, and welcome back to this week's video. I want to share with you another testimony of mine. So this testimony is going to be just a shortened version of how the Lord spared my dad and I in a car accident we were in back in 1998. There were so many miracles that the Lord did that night in this story. And what I want to focus on are those miracles, not the fact that the accident happened, but I want to focus on the miracles. So my dad and I were driving on the freeway, and there was a car that was stalled in the middle of the freeway having car trouble. Instead of the car being stalled like this, it was stalled like this, sideways. And so the lights were blinking, but they were pointing that direction, so we couldn't see the car. We were coming around a bend, so a bend in the freeway, and the car was like this, like right here. And so we were coming around the bend, and we saw it too late, so there was nothing that we could have done. The decision that my dad made at the last minute, the paramedics told us later that it saved both of our lives, and that was my dad. Instead of us hitting that car head on, he turned the wheel for us to hit sideways, like on his end. And they said due to that, the way physics works, that if we would have hit head on, they said that I probably would have flown out a windshield or the roof of the car. And they said that it could have even killed my dad on impact. But because of the way that we hit, it somehow like softened the blow, and then just physics, the way it all works. So that was miraculous that my dad was able to at least have time. The Lord moved on his heart to just at least turn the wheel, and I've called him my hero, because I was like, Dad, you did what any loving father would do, and that's to just risk your own life for your child. And I still get choked up and emotional every time I think about it, that my dad made that decision, that he didn't know what was coming or what was ahead, but that he was just going to turn the wheel to protect his little girl. And that just means a lot to me. There are no words to express how much it means to me. So he turned the wheel, and we hit. All the windows shattered. We had glass in our hair. We both passed out. When I came to, my dad was still passed out. He had blood dripping from his mouth. So I thought he had passed away. It was extremely traumatic scene. An adult, probably, I think it was one of the people that was having car trouble, came to my window and was like, do you need me to call 911? And I said, yes, please. I was kind of starting to feel frantic, like, yes, we need help immediately. My dad, I didn't know, if he was alive or not. It didn't look like he was. And they got there, and I still had a door, like my side of the truck. It was bent, but they were able to open it and get me out. My dad's side of the whole truck, it had crushed onto him. So there was no door. There was no, the truck was completely totaled. It was an absolute mess. And so the paramedics put me in the ambulance, and from the ambulance with the doors open, I watched as they had to pry the truck up off of him and then pick him up and pull him out of my door, because he didn't have a door. There was no door left on the truck. So it was just this horrifying scene, but I know that God was there, and I know that he heard my prayers. I remember still to this day looking up into the sky and just knowing, God, you're there, you're here with me, and you're real, and you're listening to my prayers, and I'm asking you to please have mercy on us. Please spare our lives. Don't take my dad. I'm not ready to say goodbye. I don't want to lose my dad. And even my injuries, I knew I was in pain. They didn't know if we had any internal bleeding or anything at that point. I had split my elbow open, and we knew I needed stitches. I was bleeding from my elbow, but from the impact, the seatbelt had, it felt like it had sunken in. So they had to do some scans to just make sure that we didn't have any bleeding or any kind of rupture to any organs on the inside from the impact. And it was just a chaotic night. When we got to the hospital, my mom and sister were in their van at a store. So when I called my mom, when she got there, they had done scans already, and they had cleared me of any, they had stitched up my elbow, they had cleared me of any other kind of injuries, which was completely miraculous. The paramedics kept saying, like, you are such a miracle to be alive. You two are just completely, just, there are no words. Like, you guys are just complete miracles to be alive right now. And for me, they were like telling me, like, for you to only have had a split open elbow and no other kind of internal injuries is just amazing. It's unreal. And I knew that that was just God, the hand of protection over me. And I'm forever grateful for that. They did the scans on my dad, and they told us that his pelvis was completely shattered and that he was going to need that night a complete full pelvic girdle replacement. And we called our pastor and had him pray. It was Elder Von Morton at that time when we were still in Fresno. And Elder came and prayed for us. And I will never forget that after they did some more scans a few hours later on my dad to make sure of the situation that they were dealing with, to pass it along to the next hospital that they were going to life flight him to, they wanted to make sure that, they gave them a total picture of this patient that they were life flighting to them, and the urgent condition that he was in. So they did a second set of scans, and they came back and they told us, we aren't sure what happened, but his pelvis is no longer shattered. It has come back together, and now there's just a hairline fracture break in it. He no longer needs a double hip replacement immediately. He will need it, later down the road in the future, but he no longer needs it immediately. They were able to put him on Coumadin to help with the blood clots, to reduce those. There were so many miracles that God did that night for us, and him sparing our lives and allowing us to be here. I am just so thankful. I'm forever thankful. And it's not anything that I want to be silent about. I want to share all that God has done. And this is just one of the many miracles that God has done in my life. I still need more miracles to be done in my life and in my body. But if he never does another one for me this side of glory, he's already done so much and enough for me to still shout and sing his praises for all that he's done. He's been so, so good to me, and I just wanted to share that. I really just wanted to drive the point home that God is good no matter what. Even if your life is a mess or a wreck, God will bring beauty out of the ashes, and he will turn a situation around. He will give you joy for mourning, and there's always a purpose for your pain. You never know what God is going to do with a testimony in your life. You never know what God is going to do with that part of your story. So the message today is that God is a protector. He is a miracle worker. He answers prayers, and he is with us. The angel of the Lord encampeth round about them that fear him. And he is always with us, protecting us. I am so very grateful, and I just want to give him glory. Thank you for tuning in to today's episode. I hope and pray that it blessed you. Until next time, guys. Bye.